to their family members and also themselves. Oscar Hammerstein, very, very beautiful music. Thoroughly one of the best. I've even done the covers on Rex Arthur channel. I've done the songs to honor them. They really did a good job. And so I was asking myself, wow, writing this after that very sad event. So what was the lesson I got from that? And even from that song, you see, when the dog bites and when the bee stings, remember your favorite things. And that's what David was also saying. He blesses the Lord at all times. There are diverse times. There's time diversity. Sometimes are hard, sometimes are easy, sometimes are just there, sometimes things are too many, sometimes things that it's so boring. You see, that's diversity. But despite that, you will still do what makes you happy. That's the lesson we get from David. And so this is what you need to understand about years. 2018 may have been hard, but it doesn't mean you still don't do your things. You still get to do them, and especially do things that make you happy. You know, if it's making love, go and make love. It makes you happy. It relieves stress. If it's listening to music, go and listen to music. If it means going to watch a game, watch a game. Watch a movie, watch a movie. All of these things, remember in the other video I did, all of these entertainers, they are actually healers. Yeah. Movie actors, singers, and and also philosophers, because philosophers, they they are telling you something you want to hear. Preachers, churches, all of these people are healers. And like now, today was the first day of 2019, and I was discussing with some people, look at how diverse the celebration of the new year is. When you go to the churches, people are praying, other people, they go and watch fireworks, others are in the club, they're dancing, others just stay at home. You see, that's diversity of new year celebrations. And let me tell you, we're going to talk more about Plato. I believe in Platonic philosophy that as it is above, so it is below. But it's actually as it is below, so it is above. Reason I'm saying that, um, when you look at the sayings of Jesus Christ, he says, I will build mansions for you. He didn't say mansions were built. He said, I will build, meaning it's futuristic, in heaven. So what does this mean? Mansions already existed in the world that time, even before Jesus appeared. So when he's saying that he's going to build mansions, it is that he has seen mansions in the earth, and for his reward, for his followers, he's telling them, hey, what? I'm going to give you man. So that is a sign that philosophy, where he said that as it is above, so it is below. It's actually as it is below, so it is above. And basically, of course, that reversal can make someone an atheist, because you'll think that if things are good on earth, why is heaven copying them? It's supposed to be heaven has already copied us, and are we are to copy heaven. But if heaven is copying us, then what does that mean? And that's why that's why we talk about religion, because I have very many questions. You know, are we from other planets? It could be. And we have very many universes, and now even Stephen Hawking called them multiverses. That there are very many universes, and we're going to do this year. We're going to do a lot of science programs so that we can teach people um, science. It's very important to read and know science. And when you know science, you're able to teach it. That's that's why I read it first and then I come and show you. So anyway, back to the new year. So this is it's 2019 and there's a lot in store for you. I was just doing this, not a long video, just to tell you we're gonna do a lot. We are back with a bang, and there's a lot. I'm doing a lot of research on everything. Not everything, but science, theology, and philosophy and spirituality, and I'm enjoying it every day. I get time to research. I research every time I get time to research. And every day I'm learning something new. And the thing I learned about the new year was I also posted it on Facebook. A friend of ours posted about the black Americans, how they liked having the hour watch night service. That means the service that hits past midnight at the end of the year and crossing over. And and most of the churches even here in Africa they call it crossover night. And I think some even say Passover. And actually I came to think even in Israel, when they had the Passover, in Israel they have very many calendars. They have basically four calendars. And one of them is the religious calendar that begins in the Passover, during the Passover festival. And what I like about that is that it's a new year and they were passing over. So the word Passover, one view is to be it's the angel of death passing um, passed over the houses of Israel, but it didn't pass over the houses of Egypt and killed the firstborns in the houses of Egypt. Then others say it was passing over. They were leaving Egypt to go to Israel or to leave Egypt, and they passed through the Red Sea. So that is called Passover. So there are very many theories. One thing you need to know about religion, you can say anything. Anything. You see, anything. Because anything, it is right. It's, in fact, scientific. I enjoy doing science videos. They are very short because there is nothing, you can't twist the fact. It's a fact that blood is red. And if the blood is not red, there is something wrong in the blood. You see, that's science. It has no time to 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 create abstract concepts. Abstraction is very, very wide. It is infinite. You can say anything. The Passover can mean something, that something passed over. The Israelites, the water passed over them. So there are very many things you can say. But what I liked about it is that it is the beginning of the new year, the religious year in Israel during the Passover. And I've liked the word over because even now it's a crossover. You've come from one year to another. You're crossing over. You're passing over to the next year. So I was just doing my meditation on that, and it was interesting that the Passover is also a New Year festival for Israel, much as they have their other New Year, Rosh Hashanah, which is in the seventh month of the religious calendar. So that's around September, October, and they've already had that, and they are already in the new year. So we're going to do the next video we're going to do here is going to be about calendars today, and we'll just show you the different types of calendars. And you need to know, I told you, diversity is the key principle. That's why we have diverse calendars. Yes, we are celebrating the Gregorian New Year. This is Pope Gregory's calendar. So our time is very Roman. But later on, we will discuss the different time calendars from other countries that do not follow the Gregorian calendar, which came from Rome. And because there's the Ethiopian calendar, there's the, what is it called, Israel also has their calendar, as I've already mentioned. We also have the Chinese calendar. They're having their new year in February. And then you also have, today I was reading about the Igbo calendar. I didn't know the Igbo had their own time calendar, and it's true. And so this diversity, everybody has their different timeline. And so the reason why we talk about these differences is to show people that we are really diverse. And because of that, nobody can come and claim that they are the best. Yes, because everybody has their understanding of life. You see, that's why I believe nobody is going to hell, because of that diversity. You see, nobody can know your experience with God. It is yours, it's unique to you. How you connect to God is between you and God. Yes, it's a fact. How you connect with your spirit and your mind is a very unique experience. It cannot be explained, and no human can empathize with you, can really feel how you connect. Yes, it is. So it's another principle. We call it is the principle of uniqueness. Very important. We are all unique. All, everyone, even twins. There is something unique in a twin. Externally, twins can look the same, but internally, one may have a higher level of a hormone than another, and that in itself is uniqueness. So everybody is unique. Is unique. Everything. There is absolutely nothing identical. Yes, there is no identical. So why is that very important? It's important because if nothing is identical, then how will you judge uniqueness? You see, you can't. You cannot say that the goats are here and the sheep are here. The sheep are going to heaven, the goats will go to hell. It doesn't make sense because there's uniqueness. You see, there's uniqueness. So yeah, that's why I'm with Bishop Carlton Pearson on the fact that there's no hell. Yes, it doesn't make sense, even judgment wise. When a judge is judging a case, I mean, what's the criteria if everybody is unique? You see, some legal systems do not apply what you call stare decisis, or there's this rule in legal language, because I have studied law. There's a precedence. Precedence means that a judge uses the former ruling to judge a present case, because the present case is similar to the former case that was already judged. So to save time and to save understanding, he refers to the precedent. But the catch of the precedent rule is that it doesn't mean the judge will really judge the way the former judge judged. He will just use that judgment to form a judgment for the present case. Now, that's for common law systems, but in the civil law system, they do not use that system, and it's for a good reason. It's because in reality, every case is different. So instead of depending on an old case to judge a new case, you would rather judge every case as new. So in the civil law systems like France and maybe South Africa, they do not apply that rule of precedent like common law countries like Britain and America. So What do I mean? So even this so-called Judgment Day, I've been thinking about it, and it doesn't really make sense because my case won't be your case because my experience was not your experience. So there's nothing like goats and sheep will go this way. It doesn't make sense. And please understand people like Jesus. They were talking like that because these were Israelis who left Babylon and came back to Israel. You see, they came back to Israel and they had Babylonian mindset. And Babylon was a neighbor of Persia, which had a very strong religion called Zoroastrianism. And Zoroastrianism is a bifurcated religion. You see, bifurcated meaning there is good and evil. There's a bad God and a good God. Before the Israelis went to exile, there was nothing like good God versus bad God. It was God is in charge of everything. Everything. There was no that there's a Satan who fights. No, that was it was a Babylonian thought. And even when you count the number of times Satan appears in the Old Testament, it's very few times. It's because of that reason they were not enlightened on the doctrine of Satan. But when they went to Babylon and Persia and Assyria, when they were taken as captives, that's when they got to learn, oh, there's a bad God. Because as I've already told you, God sent an angel of death. It was his angel. It was not Satan. It was God's angel, called the angel of death. And he killed children. He killed the firstborn. Whether they were children or adults, he killed them. God's angel. God killed his own people, Israelis, the ones who rebelled against Moses. They were swallowed by the earth. It doesn't say Satan. Yeah, it doesn't say Satan. It says God. But when the Israelis went to exile, to captivity, not exile, they mixed their religion with the captors' religion. And then they came back with a mixture. That's why even the Hebrew calendar, they have more than one calendar. It's because when they went to Babylon, they came back with a Babylonian calendar. They named the months according to Babylonian system. Tammuz, the month of, there are very many months in Israel that have Babylonian names. They're not necessarily Hebrew. And the best is Abib, the month of Passover. Abib is the Hebrew name, but in Babylonian it's Nisan. So they carried those words back to Israel. And so they also carried back Babylonian theology to Israel. And so this is Babylonian theology is what now brought the bifurcation that there's a hell and there's a heaven. And Jesus taught it because that's what he was taught. Remember, Jesus was a child. He didn't come to the earth. I think if I was God, I would have made Jesus to come as an adult so that people really know it's serious business. Because have you noticed angels don't come like babies? They come as big people, So I think that's what God should have done. But there's a way abilities. That was to me. I'll talk about him. Of course, it's Kwanzaa, and Kwanzaa is an African diaspora celebration of New Year also. And I read something very interesting. The Kwanzaa founder actually thought Jesus is a schizophrenic. And I think he could be right. Yes, because most schizophrenics tend to be shamans. They tend to be healers. Yes, it's weird. And that's what we'll discuss that. There's a very beautiful video by Professor, I think Richard Sapolsky. I don't, Robert Sapolsky, Robert or Richard, one of the two R's, or Paul, I can't remember, but from Stanford University, if I'm not wrong. The best video on religion, the best, the best. And he really explained who religious leaders are. They are actually, some of them, not all, they are schizophrenic, especially the healers. It's weird. The shaman term comes from Russia. And Russians knew, of course, the ancient Russians knew people who had those healing powers, and that's when they called them shamans. And even in Africa, we had our shamans. Every country in the world had shamans, even Israel, even Egypt, everywhere they have. And all of, what does this mean? Mental health is diverse. I mean, it's everywhere, it's universal, rather. So we're going to do, of course, ancient mental health videos. We're going to do videos um, on religion. We're going to do the how ancient religions mixed with each other and how they influenced religion. You see, Paul, you know why Paul is very similar to Greek philosophers? Because at that time, those are the people talking. Yes, Paul interacted with Greek philosophers. Do you know why the Quran is so similar to the Bible? It's because Prophet Muhammad was in Jerusalem, which had Christians and Jews. There were no Muslims at that time. He was not even a Muslim that time until he had the dream where Jibril or Gabriel came to see him. You see? So Prophet Muhammad borrowed everything from Christians and Jews. And then he came up with then he added his new experience, his understanding of God. That's why Islam is not Christianity, nor is it Judaism. It's just Islam, because it's a mix of something from Jews, something from Christians, then something unique he created, he modified. And voila, Islam was born. So what am I trying to say? Intellectuals are influenced by the intellectuals that are present at that time. That's what you need to know. And they influence your thought, they influence your speech. That's why I'm telling you, even Jesus was influenced by the teachings in Israel at that time because he was born. If he was an angel, that would be different. He would come with a different doctrine and he would only talk heavenly things. Remember what he told Nicodemus? I'm sorry, we're almost done. He said, he had to explain to Nicodemus the rebirth using human terms. He could not use heavenly terms because Nicodemus is not a heavenly being. You see, that's what he said. He asked him, if I explain to you this, if I'm explaining to these things using earthly things and you still cannot understand, now what if I use heavenly things? You will not even understand a thing. So what was he trying to tell him? There's a heavenly language. There's a heavenly understanding that even we, because we are humans, we can't understand. So anyway, we're going to have a very fantastic year, and because we are on fire, we started, QSTPS just started last year, and it went well, it has gone well, and so we are only seeing prosperity this year. And of course, what we can say, only expect knowledge and discussion from here. So that's what we're going to give you. And secondly, my postulation of 2019, these days I don't do a lot of predicting. Reason being, I've already understood time. Yes, there are many countries will go through, the countries go through tough times. Of course, globally, I can postulate. And let me tell you, we are in a transition, very powerful one. It's so chaotic. You see what's happening in America? They are dreaming of impeaching Trump. It's a very tough war. Look what's happening to Britain, Brexit. Look what's happening to the Arab world. There's a second Arab Spring happening. Look what Trump has already done. He has withdrawn troops. Very significant things are happening in the world, and they have an effect. So, and there's a war between nationalism and globalism. You see, because this old status quo is more nationalistic than globalist. And the new status quo that is supposed to come is very globalist. Yes, all of these social media platforms, they are globalist. You know why? Because every country, you can be in China and you can talk to a friend in Botswana. That's a globalist system. A nationalist system, you cannot talk from China to Botswana. Impossible. And let me tell you, we're soon going to already, do you know Facebook is actually a phone company? Yes, it's a global phone company because you can call somebody from Egypt to Australia without, all you need is internet. You see, it has unraveled the systems, the telephony, the telephone industry or the communication industry, because Facebook is competing with national phone providers. Yes, very, very, very. Let me tell you, the profits Facebook has made, some of it is from the telephone, what the telephone markets would have made. And very soon, if the internet gets cheaper, which is going to happen, because internet is going to become a basic right, that's the end of all of these. Most of these phone companies. That's when the communication companies, telecommunication companies. That's when they are going to have trouble, because they will not be able to make money from people, because people would rather call using internet. It's cheaper and it's free. Because some governments will say internet is a right, everybody needs it. That's the end of Verizon, all of these other things. They won't be making money. So these are the things people need to be prepared for, and know that there's a war between the global system and the national system. Of course, there are some telecommunication companies that are very global, like Airtel is a very global one. So they may not be affected because they are already global. All they need to do, they do what you call is they hook onto Facebook, They let people enter Facebook using their system. So there's many things happening in the world, and basically that chaos, until it ends, it's a boxing match between globalists and nationalists. And until it ends, then we will still not see, the world will still be chaotic the way it is right now. Then another thing that we're going to do another video is the LGBTQ movement. It is the most, it's a movement that has changed the world significantly in every area. Every area. I'm telling you, it's very serious. And we're going to do a video on Rex Arthur and also here. But I think we'll do hook on. So what we'll do on Rex Arthur, we'll post it here. And we'll have a playlist for Rex Arthur here so that we don't have to repeat ourselves again. Yeah, so anyway, it's a very eventful year, as I've told you. Nationalist waves versus globalist waves. And of course, like, if you look at it in the Christian way, and then we're going to do a lot of study about eschatology, because some Christians believe it's end times because technology is advancing. And other Christians, like me, I changed my views. I'm no longer so end time, I'm now time. And what I mean by now time, I would rather build the world right now and make it a better place. Even if Jesus comes, he'll find me working. Yes, those are millennials. Yeah? The Catholic Church, Anglican, many mainstream churches are a millennial. They don't focus on the end of the world. They just try and build the world, make it a better place now. But the evangelicals and Pentecostals tend to be very millennial, meaning there is a reign coming. Jesus is coming. And for some of them, Jesus has to come for the world to have order. Meaning, as long as Jesus hasn't come, there will be no order in the world. That is the eschatological view of most evangelicals and Pentecostals. So we're going to do that study. It's very important because it's a study of time. You remember what we said? Time is God, time is life. Because we are going to look at that and study time in a powerful way. And religion is about time. We told you the Bible is a time book. It's a history book. But it's even more than a history book. It's a time book because it not only talks about the past, it talks about the future. You see, people need to understand the roots of Zionism. It is a futuristic hope. Yes. The Jews knew that they had to go back home to prepare for their Messiah. They don't believe Jesus is the Messiah. Yes, they know the Messiah is yet to come. Because according to them, the Messiah is to come and bring order. But for the Christians, they call Jesus the Messiah, and he's coming back again to tell the Jews that, yes, I was actually the Messiah. I came, but you didn't know. But you're mine. And that's what Christians, that's the eschatology. For Muslims, it's different, you see. And Muslims, the eschatology is like the Sunnis. I was thinking about it today. The Sunnis are a millennial. They don't believe that somebody has to come to bring order. They believe that they need an Islamic caliphate to rule the whole world. And the world will be wholly Islamic. That's their teaching. But for the Shiites, who happen to be from Iran, majorly, they believe there's a Mahdi coming. And this is the guy who's going to bring order in the world. So the Shiites are more eschatological than the Sunnis. The Sunnis are less eschatological. So we're going to look at all of these eschatologies. And of course, Hindus also have the eschatology. So it's going to be a beautiful year filled with a lot of knowledge. Because knowledge is power. You need to know. And when you understand things, you now understand people very well, and you understand life, and you understand the world. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year. Enjoy yourselves, everything you're doing now. Okay, bye.